Alrighty. Let's see. So what do we have for team comps? Viktor, Tristana, Sejuani. You guys have a pretty fucking dank team fight, actually. Team fight, Siege. You should be able to team fight in Siege very well. So far, your team comps have actually been pretty good, the ones that I've seen you play in. Probably part of the reason you win even though you're behind. Okay, you're here. Viktor, 2 pots. Let's see what you have for... Okay, so... Taking MR, AP Quince, Magic Penyards. Okay. So this lane should be pretty easy. You're just farming. And you and Viktor both want to do that, but you have more kill pressure on him and you clear the wave much faster. Especially once you get level 4 on your E and you have the it's called, you have the first upgrade on your hex core. You should have no problem backing with the 1250 gold you need for your first upgrade unless you just really potato the lane. You start with Q, you start with E, you start with Q. Nice. In this case, there are a couple lanes you can start E in, and Viktor is one of them, because Viktor isn't going to trade with you. Viktor is never going to want to trade with you. So I would just start E because it does more damage. You can start Q too, it doesn't really matter. But there are some matchups you can start E in, and this is one of them. You don't really need to Q the minion there. There's no reason. If you want to push the wave, then you should take an E first. I would only start Q if you're intent on harassing him. Because the Q shield gives you... Hide behind your minions. You don't want to give him free AP, because he gets AP every time he hits you now. Nice, got the Thunderlord proc. Oh, you missed the minion though. You need to back off. Like after you got the trade, you should have just backed off. Yeah, you lost a lot for that. After you got the Thunderlord's proc, you just needed to get away. It probably would have been... Okay, you don't get hit by that. Probably would have been better to take E and then just harass from behind your minions where he can't hit you with the Q. So you're pushing in again. When you're at this point, you shouldn't be sitting here. You shouldn't be jacking off. Instead, you need to be warding, right? Hold on. I'm going to sneeze. Alright. You've been pushing in a lot of these games, and you haven't been warding, and this is going to be really punished by better junglers. So what you need to do, once that wave was like right there, is that you needed to ward topside. You know that the jungler should be getting topside right now, or he should be ganking you bot side. So you come over here, walk over here, you ward right here, and then you hug topside. Because Graves isn't going to be able to gank you without being seen by that ward from topside, and if he comes from bot side, you have Ghost, so you should just be able to walk away. And this allows you to play as aggressively as you are right now, without any danger. But right now you're so far up that you're in big danger of getting chunked if the Graves decides to gank you, or you're in big danger of dying if the Graves decides to like fucking hardcore kick your ass and he just outplays the shit out of you somehow. So, but this is really greedy. The fact that you're pushing up this far and you're not warding. And this is something I've seen in both of your replays. So it's not just like you made this mistake once. This is twice in a row now. But that's the reason you push in. Like if you're gonna push in, you do it so you can get vision control, and you're not doing that. You're just being very greedy instead. Done a good job harassing him though. Equal minions. Okay, now you're kind of low in mana. Oh wow, that didn't hit you. Okay. At this point, you should stop trying to harass him and just last hit the minions. And just last hit the minions. Don't try and auto to push him in. Or you can do this. Are you going to take this back? Okay, now you're really low on mana. Wave's pushed in. You still haven't warded. Right? Like, if this Graves wanted to gank instead of farm, look at where your lanes are right now. Your bot lane is pushed in. Your top lane is pushed in. You are the only one on your team that is pushing into the enemy instead of being pushed in. You are the easiest gank on your team, and you're the only one that could get ganked and die. Right? So if this Graves decided to have pressure instead of do his fucking full clear, which he can do, he can gank you from behind, and he will chunk the shit out of you, and he'll force you to back with less than 1250 gold, which is really suboptimal on Viktor, especially in a lane where you should just be able to free farm and get that back every time. Right? Like, this isn't accomplishing anything at all. Instead, you're just, like, you're only setting yourself up for failure. If this was versus an actual ganking jungler, you should fucking die. You should, like, 100% fucking die in this situation. But, so I'm a little confused. And now I have this bug where I'm... That's obnoxious to hear. Okay, there it goes. It went away. But you don't want to harass like this, especially right now since you're so low on mana and you're so pushed in. Like, you're just setting yourself up to be ganked and have no sort of recourse because you have no mana. Holy shit, that fucking audio bug is annoying. Okay. So, I don't know why this Graves is so interested in ganking top. They must be like duo or something. Because there's no way this works out unless the Illaoi does something extremely dumb. Yeah, this Graves is dumb. You're lucky. Because there's only one of you that's pushed in. Or one of you that's pushing in. This ward should have happened so long ago. So long ago. And you'd be like, okay, but if I did ward that so long ago, I wouldn't have seen Graves on this ward. Now here's my counter to that. Since you just saw Graves topside, you know he's going to be topside. So you hug bot side. And that's your solution to that. Right? You hug bot side, and if you don't see him again, and your trinket would eventually be up. Like, what's the cooldown on this? 3 minutes, right? One charge every 159 seconds. Okay, so if you'd warded when I told you, which is at like 2 something, that means it comes back up in less than 3 minutes. So 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it'd be up right now. Your trinket would be up right now, and you could ward again. If you'd warded when I told you. So you'd be fine. Also, you're just using your spells for no reason. Like, yeah, you see this guy. But you're using your spells for no reason. Use your spells to deny CS instead of just, like, throwing E's out. Because look at how little mana you have, right? And for how little mana you have, the fact that you both have equal CS is so dumb. If you're using mana, it should be for a reason. If I had this low mana on a fucking champion, I better be, like, 10 to 12 CS ahead of my opponent. Because I've been harassing them off of minions. That's the only excuse for having all that mana used. You should be using it to keep him from getting minions. Like, is your E on cooldown right now? No, it's not. Then you should E and try and Q combo him to try and force him away from these 2 minions that he's going to try and CS here. And he should take a fuck ton of damage for it, or you should have to walk away and not get those minions. That's why you want to use spells. You don't want to use them to just get free poke. You want to use them to try and get poke and minions. But now you know that you should be hugging bot side, right? Because you just cleared your ward. Yeah, you're smart, boy. Okay. Oh, I'm tilted. I'm tilted. Please don't. You don't have to ghost here. Yeah. Okay. And this is like, you fucked up there by flashing into the stun, first off. But this is also because you've been pushed in this whole time and you've been using all your mana. And, like, I guess, yeah, I don't know. Like, you knew he was there, too. You probably should have just sat back. Because you just cleared your ward. And even if he's not there, you just sit back for a couple seconds and wait for him to go away. Because Graves isn't going to stay there all day, right? Because it's already hard for Graves to make ganks work. And if he just wants to farm. He just wants to get big and get to a point where he can like one-shot people with his combo. So he doesn't want to sit there for too long. It's not like a Lee Sin, right, where he can sit there for ages. So you should have been. Thank you, audio bug. Yeah, you should have been chilling back. Oh, this is aggro. Woo, lad. Holy shit. Tristana is in the house, ladies and gentlemen. I guess you get carried by your Trist in this game. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, you back. You have no pots. Fun. Yeah, you need to push this in under turret. There you go. Q auto. Q auto. You should know that while your E is anything less than level 4, you will not one-shot those backline minions. Right? At level 3, you will be just a little bit off of one-shotting the backline minions. So what you should have done... Okay, that's an interesting thing. What you should have done is you should have autoed them first, and then tried to use the E. Another thing is you're using all of your mana here, too. Like, again, this is the same situation where you're just blowing all your mana, and yeah, he's low now, but you're pushed up, you have no wards, you're low on mana, and you're low on health. You're setting yourself up for another gank. And you don't have a pink ward. Like, you should always try and back with a pink ward. Okay, I guess he's just AFK. Like, you should be so scared right now. Like, this Graves should be behind your ass right now because of how far pushed up you are. You want to do this? Auto those minions, right? And get the fuck out. But now, right now, you have no summoners and you're that far pushed up. If this Graves was less intent on farming and more intent on fucking you in the ass, you'd be dead. Yeah, like, look at this. Also, when you're pushed in like this, you should do something else. Like, this time you got the blue buff, but you should always be doing something. You should go farm a camp. Oh god, you're dead. Okay, you got backup. Woo! Control your ult. Don't forget to control your ult. You can move it on his face, even when he's out of range. Or not when he's out of range, but you know what I mean. If you'd controlled your ult better there, you might have been able to pick him up. It's good that you're backing. You should back versus Veigar because he can just press R and kill you at this point. So, yeah, you're just like not respecting jungle pressure at all. It's really causing some issues. Pink wards! Pink wards! You know what's 100 times more useful than that ruby crystal? Pink wards! Yes! You bought a pink ward. I'm so happy. Oh my god. Thank god. You untilted me. There's hope yet for you. Let's see. Boots and pink wards. This is good. The other reason you want boots is because you're against Veigar and you need to be able to walk out of his stun. If you don't have boots, it's very hard for Viktor to do. Because look at how much movement speed you have. 360. What did you have before? 335? Okay. I thought Viktor had 325. Another thing, just for the record, is that you can take move speed quints on Viktor. Like, if you had him for a lot of these situations, you'd just be able to walk away. Oh my god, you need to walk away? Holy shit. Oh, just for the record, the way his thing works is it's a cone. If you had actually walked, like, over here, you would have lived. Right, because it... let me see if it shows the area of effect. No, it doesn't. But it basically shoots out in a straight line, and then it splits into a cone. If you don't know, you should. But if you don't. And that means that there's a weird way that you have to juke it. So if he's like firing it this way, you have to like juke a little bit towards them. Which is why Graves is pretty strong, to be honest. It's hard to juke his ult. But you can do it. And it's always really funny when you walk the weird way and you juke his ult, because it just tilts the shit out of him. But you should have placed your pink ward, by the way. Like, you want to place it before they see you. Because if they see you walk into lane and you have a pink ward, and then you walk out and they see it's gone, they know where you placed it. Part of the value of a pink ward is they don't know where it is. They have to like find it and walk across it. And if you just like walk into lane and then you walk out and the person is observant, they'll know where your pink ward is and they'll just walk up and clear it when they have the first opportunity. And that's not something you're going to encounter early on, but that's something that you will encounter as you go up in elo. So you should have placed it early, and it would have saved your ass, because this fucking Graves wouldn't have been able to freely gank you. So yeah. Didn't have flash yet. Unlucky. But you need to play with a little bit more respect for the jungler. And also, it's fine to take cleanse too versus Veigar. Like, you're against a Sona and a Veigar. That's a pretty good reason. But I would also consider taking movement speed Quince on Viktor, because all he needs to do to win is just to move through fights. Right? That's why he builds a Rylai's, because he needs to be able to just get close enough to people to do damage. Yeah, your team is carrying your ass. Holy fuck! That's why you guys win team fights, boys. But you need to be able to move through fights. That's why Viktor's so good, because his Q and Ghost and what's it called? Q, Ghost, and Rylai's means that no one is ever out of range for him to kill. Or not necessarily to kill, but just to do damage to. And movement speed Quince help that a lot. Like, you probably would have been able to escape both of these ganks if you had movement speed Quince. And Viktor scales hard enough that he doesn't really need the 15 AP. Right? Like, he's still going to do what he does if he has 15 AP or not. It's not like something like LeBlanc or whatever, where you need exact, like, a certain amount of AP in order to actually kill people and clear waves at certain points. Once you hit level 4, you have enough AP to clear the wave if you have your Hex score upgrade. Doesn't matter if you have that 15 AP or not. If that wasn't true, then I would tell you not to take it, but it is. So yeah, for Anivia and Viktor, consider getting movement speed Quince. Don't walk up to this guy. Okay. Oh, he's a greedy bastard. But, and you're also you like have no mana control. And this is going to be really bad for you. Oh, you're wasted. Okay, never mind. You're able to flash. But when you're playing with certain junglers, like, I don't know, Sejuani, or like more commonly things like Amumu, or junglers that just love blue buff. You know who they are, right? You need to learn how to manage your mana, because you're fucking yourself so hard. Part of the reason these ganks are working is because you can't use your spells. Like, you can't, like, once you get to a point where you can't use your full combo with your mana, you are at a disadvantage, because you effectively have less spells than your opponents. And this is part of the reason you're dying in all of these games. It's part of the reason why you're, like, almost losing and dying or whatever. And you're getting away with it because they're not able to punish you as hard as they should. But, oh, the Ukes. Oh, Veigar, you're a useless son of a bitch. Imagine if you knew how to use your mana and you had your ult there. That guy was dead. So it's not like, he just, like, yeah, Veigar's fucking obnoxious sometimes, but you could have killed him if you used your mana correctly, instead of blowing it every time you had the opportunity. And probably the most important thing on Viktor is knowing when to use your W. There are certain spells that you only want to use at certain times because they have long cooldowns or they cost a lot of mana, right? And when you use a full rotation, you're using like half of your mana pool, something like that. What is it on? How much mana do you have on Viktor right now? You only have your first Hex core upgrade, 796. So this is like 130 or something, 110 right now. Yeah, 110, 100, 65, 50. So that's 210. That's 275. That's 325. Yeah, you're using like a third of your mana pool every time you use a full rotation of your spells. Uh-oh. And like even when you're just using your top three, you're using like a quarter of your mana pool. When you use all three of your other spells. And you're using them so often, you need to learn how to use your W better. Like, this is a fucking awful W. Why did that happen? It shouldn't. And you should have moved this back over here. Yeah, here. Okay. Your ult control's kind of iffy. But your W's need to be used for a reason. It's like his W is like Anivia's wall. When you use it, it needs to be used really well. especially in lane because it uses so much mana. Or not so much mana, but because all of your spells already use a lot of mana, it's hard for you to don't hit it when it's doing that. But your spells already use a lot of mana. And so using like 65 more when you don't need to is gonna cause a lot of problems. Holy shit, that Sona was so greedy, or whatever this bitch is. Hit them! Stop hitting the blue buff! You don't need a blue buff! Stop it! Oh my god. Sometimes the enemy champions are more important than the blue buff. It's hard to believe on Viktor, especially in this game where you have no mana, Kappa. But, yeah, hit enemy champions. Like, I don't, like, this was a complete potato moment. The fact that you were hitting this blue buff while this whole fight was going on, it gives me AIDS. Ever so slightly. But, you know, you just need to use your mana better. Like, a lot of this wouldn't have happened if you just knew how to be patient with your mana. This is your fault. Lowry's pushing up. That's her bad. You guys should get a dragon for it, though. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Just push this in and go to dragon. Like, you don't want to be up here. Because, like, if this Sona has flash, I bet you don't know what this Sona's flash cooldown is. Like, yeah, it's down. But if people aren't timing it, which is very likely when you're in gold, when you're in platinum, when you're pretty much anywhere but fucking challenger, and you don't know her fucking flash cooldown, what happens if she flash ults you? This guy layers his CC on top of you, and then he lays his full combo into you, and you're gone. Right? You shouldn't be here. There's no reason to be up this far. Because you're not going to be hitting the tower versus these two. Right? Because that would just be way too greedy. So go and help these guys do the dragon. Or go and put your trinket in a bush here. No, you're... Okay, you have blue trinket. It's good that you changed. But go and do something else. Like, you shouldn't be pushed up this far. There's no reason to be. I hope you walk the dragon after this. Okay. Another thing? Yes, this is good. Whenever your team is doing objectives and you're a mid laner and they do not need you to DPS it, which is usually whenever your ADC is there, they don't need you to take it. Sit here and zone, right? Like, because if someone comes up here, like this Sona, you can probably one-shot her. Let's see. 975 health, 55 MR. So, and 100, 150, 300. Yeah, you probably need like ult, two procs, one proc of ult, one extra proc of ult on top of the initial one, a full E combo. You use the W to slow her to keep her on the E combo, and then 2 Qs or one more E can kill her. So yeah. But ooh, can he kill her? Holy shit, he probably could have. Oh, this is greedy. Just turn back. Okay, you dodged it. Your ult control is so bad, this should be over here right now. Yeah. You, holy shit. She's gone. Yeah, that was a throw. You went way too ham. You didn't need to do that at all. Like, you just got the dragon, you already won the trade. Just back and reset. Also, I would get your second hex core upgrade before I get the Rylai's, to be honest. Because you want that movement speed. Like I said, movement speed is so important for Viktor, because he just needs to move through fights, and I don't know why she keeps split pushing like this. She has decent wards, I guess, but still kind of greedy. But yeah, you want that second hex core upgrade because that lets you move through fights and dodge things. If you had had your second hex core upgrade instead of having what you have now, like I would probably not have bought the, what's it called? You should have boots, and you should have your second hex core upgrade instead of Rylai's right now, because that would have let you get out of that fight. It would have given you the move speed you needed, which is what Viktor really needs more than anything else. So, I think your item prioritization is bad. The fact that you have a Hex Core upgrade and a full item before you get your Lucidity boots is kind of rough. Because you really just need move speed on Viktor to survive. Holy shit, she's so fed. Woo! Yeah. Because really, your main function in this game is just to clear waves. And once you get your level 4 and the first Hex Core upgrade, you do that. You clear the backline, which is all you need to do. So you don't need more AP at this point. What you need is just the ability to survive and keep doing damage repeatedly. And you get that with your move speed. And that's how it is in most Viktor games. There aren't many Viktor games where you don't want the move speed. Because you're playing such a dangerous game right now. Like when you go up and harass. But if you had move speed from your Q, and from boots, and from move speed quints, this would be much safer to do. You could poke and weave in and out so much more efficiently and so much more safely. Like, that was really fucking close to hitting you. It didn't, but if you had played it just slightly wrong, if you had walked a little bit too far forward, you'd have gotten hit and you'd have gotten bursted. Like, this is so dangerous. You have 360 move speed. Vhagar has 397. Even the fucking Nautilus, this fat bastard, is faster than you. This is why Viktor needs move speed. Because if Nautilus can fucking catch up to you, you know you're gonna have a bad day. Holy shit, Tristana, you're a boosted animal. And you still got away with it. Holy shit, she is so lucky. Meanwhile, allow a 1v3s. Oh, I'm tilted. Okay. Alright. So if anything looks a little weird, that's because I had to redo this last 10 minutes or so of the game. Unfortunately, I had my scene switching set to some bindings that happened to coincide with certain controls for spectator, so unlucky. Alright. At this point, you don't need to be up this far. You guys aren't going to end the game right here, so being up this far is just a risk for you. Yeah, this is like a little bit dangerous. And this is also where move speed would be pretty good, huh? Because let's look at this Nautilus right now. This Nautilus has 370 move speed. And this Viktor, with tier 1 boots and tier 1 hex core, has 360. So this guy can catch up to you. Unless you like flash outplay him or ghost. Because you have way too little mana to actually get away normally. Yep. And that's why move speed is good on Viktor. So, I remember this. Yeah. If you'd ghosted, like, as soon as you saw this Nautilus coming up on you and you realized that he was faster than you probably should have just ghosted. You would have been able to dodge his hook, and you should have just ran away. Should have just been able to run away, at least. Unless he flash ulted you, and he would have had to trade his flash for your flash, but instead you just let him hit you with a hook instead of ghosting immediately. And since Ghost is on such a low cooldown, you're probably going to have it anyway. Yeah. Now you get your tier 3 hex core. And you do not have tier 2 boots. Movement speed is good on Viktor. You are slower than this guy. The slowest champion in League of Legends. You are slower than him right now. Okay? That's bad. He shouldn't be that fast. He shouldn't be that fast compared to you. Tier 2 boots are important. Right? Oftentimes you'll get them before you even complete your first item on Viktor, because having Lucidity Boots pairs really well with Ghost, which is really useful for escaping ganks from champions like Graves who don't have any sort of hard CC. So this is 100% a game where this is 100% the kind of game where you'd want to get early boots no matter what. And so the fact that you didn't is unfortunate, but yeah. So at this point, yeah. So you should be walking mid. You should be pinging them not to go so aggressive top, right? Because you and Sirach, like, your Tristana is the one that's really fed in this game, right? Yeah, like your Tristana and your Alawi. So half of your team's damage is right here. And about 20% of your team's damage is right here. And the other 30% is right here. They should not be alone. You should be pinging them off. You shouldn't be doing Dragon alone. I mean, I guess you can do it. It's okay. But your team, like, you should be pinging them back right now. They shouldn't be greeting for this turret. And pinging is important. Like, you're going to get this Dragon. You know they should all be topside. So, you don't need to be worrying about you. You need to be worrying about them. Because they're just going to die. More than likely. Yep. Unlucky. So you're going to go over and get blue buff. And now your team just needs to group up. This game shouldn't last as long as it does. You guys group up. Do you have gold for pinks? Yeah, you probably had gold. You should back and buy pink wards right now. If you back and buy anything other than pink wards, you're making a mistake. You have gold for pinks. You had gold for pink wards. Okay, why do you buy pink wards? Well, in late game, against things like this Baron right here, you need vision control around it. You want vision control because if you get the Baron, you can just end the game. Like Viktor Siege. Yeah, you have Tristana, Viktor Siege, right? And then you have the Alawi and Sejuani dive. And then all of this gets to be backed up by a Soraka. You have a very good team comp. I think I said that earlier on. But all you need to do to end this game is get Baron, right? You get Baron and you should 100% end this game. So you know how you do that? You go back, you buy 2 pink wards, not just one. You buy 2. And you place one right fucking here. Because there's already one in the pit. And then you do Baron. And you know, because Tristana and Alawi are doing so much damage, you don't even need to be with them. You can sit in this bush and wait for some dumb bitch like Sona to walk up, and then you full combo her and she dies. And then you get Baron for free because it's a 5v4. And if someone else happens to come up, you can probably kill them too because you're Viktor, one of the most busted mid lane champions to ever be made. So, but instead, you probably didn't buy one because you're like, oh, I already have a pink ward out, but your pink ward is here. Yeah. This pink ward doesn't do anything, alright? This pink ward is useless at this point in the game. Because Dragon is not up. It's not going to be up for like 6 minutes. No one is going to walk over this pink ward because they have no reason to be so far up and aggressive on this side of the map. Because there's no way they're going to be that far aggressive on the side of the map because you have super minions. They're going to be like right here. At most, they're going to be like right here trying to clear the wave. Probably they're going to be in their base trying to clear the wave. So there's no way this pink ward is going to be useful within the next like 6 minutes or whatever until Dragon comes up. And it might be useful if if the wave starts dying and they decide to push in bot and take this tier 1, but that's kind of dumb because they can probably just be collapsed on anyway because you guys have pretty good team fight. And if they are bot side, you shouldn't even be bot side. You should just take the Baron instead because that's how you end the game. So there's just no way this pink ward is going to be useful. There's no way you should just say, okay, I'm going to leave this pink ward up. You should have it over here somewhere around Baron. Preferably here. This is probably the best. Because Baron's already clear, and that means you can sit in the pit and do it without being seen. Like, you know there's no vision there. So this pink ward needs to be moved. Like, it shouldn't stay here. Just because you have a pink ward up on the map doesn't mean it should stay on the map. Sometimes there are better places to have it. And with a team as good at sieging as yours is, or with a team as ahead as yours is, it should probably be around the Baron, because that's the only objective up. But instead, it's going to sit here alone, getting no action, like an unhappily married man. Okay, this is kind of greedy. Oh, that was a good Sona ult. Yeah, life sucks now. So, My name is Victor. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation. Okay. This is gonna be bad for you guys. That was a bad ult. Again, ult control issues. That was a really good ult by her, but like as soon as your Sejuani got CC'd, you probably should have backed off. Or like as soon as your Sejuani went in and missed her Q, you probably should have backed off. Yeah, now you back off right now. And if you'd done it just like a second earlier, you wouldn't have gotten hit by that. And you missed your ult. Okay, you need to learn to move your ult, because if you had kept it on him, you might have been able to peel him for a little bit longer. Or, because you know you're probably already dead, you should have turned on the Sona and just immediately tried to kill her. Because you're Viktor, you do damage, you have enough burst damage to kill her. See, what does she have? She has 55 MR, she has 1300 health, and Viktor has 120. That's like shit. Yeah, he does a lot of damage. Yeah, you're probably going to kill her, right? So she's going to have to back off, because she'll be so low that she can't chase you. And Nautilus, while he's a pain in the ass, he's mostly just going to stick on you, right? So if you just burst her down, and if she should die, she'll probably die. If not, she's going to be at like 100 health. So if you just turn and burst her, like especially in situations like this, sometimes it's just better to turn and hope for the best, because maybe you can scavenge something out of it. So you turn and you try and burst her, and then you try and kite Nautilus out with your Q movement speed and hit the slow that comes from the Rylai's. And that's like the only way you might live. You're probably still dead. I imagine the Nautilus would chase. You'd probably have to dodge a few hooks. If you didn't, you still got hit, you'd probably die, but she'd be really low. She'd probably die right here, back from this teleport, or she'd have to back off and this Nautilus would die alone. So you could have played it better. You could have not got hit by the Sona ult, and you could have turned on the Sona and tried to kill her when she was all that close to you. That was your best chance at winning. Most fed Alawi in the universe. Meanwhile, she's going to come in and clean up. Holy mechanics. She forces a flash. Okay, hold on. What's this? Alright. Against this team, I do not like Lichbane on Viktor. I'm just going to say that flat out. I think with Viktor, 5 of your item slots are already decided, right? You need to build a Rylai's. You have your Hex Core. You have to build boots, preferably Lucidity boots, and then you build Void Staff and you build Death Cap, right? So that's 5 items right there. 5 are already decided. Your 6th is generally not going to be Lichbane, because Zhonya's and Abyssal are usually more important. And if we look at their team, there's a lot of shit you can Zhonya's. There is so much shit you can Zhonya's. And the armor is going to be really good against that Graves, who is fed. And there's a lot of ambient AD damage that's going to come from Sivir's boomerang blade, as it bounces through the waves. So you have a really good reason to be itemizing towards Zhonya's instead. I would even be fine, like, since they have so much magic damage from him and Nautilus, like Nautilus, Veigar, and Sona. It would even be fine to pick up a Negatron Cloak here, but picking up Sheen is it's just too greedy most of the time. Like 90% of the time, your last slot should be filled with an Abyssal or a Zhonya's. And in this case, it's a Zhonya's, because if you complete a Zhonya's, you can Zhonya's Veigar's ult, right? Just for the record. And if you if he ults towards you and you Zhonya's it, it goes on cooldown and it doesn't kill you. So those are both extremely good things. And again, you can Zhonya's a Sona ult if you've got the dank mechanics. You can definitely Zhonya's a Nautilus ult, which is really important. And you can Nautilus, you can Zhonya's Graves combo too. So Zhonya's is useful versus 4 out of the 5 members of this enemy team comp. And then MR is useful versus 3 out of the 5. So if you think the game is going to end before you're going to complete this last item, then I would build MR. just for Vhagar and Nautilus and Sona, because they've been doing a lot of damage. If you think you're going to have the time to complete a last item, you should probably build a Zanya's, because the Zanya's active is going to be extremely useful versus all of the members of this enemy team. But I do not think Lich Bane's it. Like, a lot of people think Lich Bane is good when you're versus tanks that you're going to be kiting and bursting down. And even though that's true, you only have one tank you're worrying about. That's the Nautilus. It's not like this is Nautilus, Udyr, Darius, and Cho'Gath mid with an ADC or something like that. No, this is just one tank that you're trying to kite out. And a lot of the times in these fights, you've just been bursted down. And Zanya's is good versus burst, and Lich Bane, well, not so much. So I think that going for Lich Bane is just kind of greedy in this case. Because you're already not doing well. Like, Lich Bane is a snowball item. If you're gonna go Lich Bane, you better do it when you have 10 fucking kills and you're playing like a god. But in this game, where that's not so much the case... Oh, she got a fucking inhib tower? Okay. But yeah, in this game where it's not the case, that's really greedy. And this would be much safer to do if you had a pink ward. Okay, so she misses the Sona ult. Now you're gonna get a re-engage that gets Sanya's... Or it gets spell shielded. Alright. Oh, that's gonna hurt. Alright. You needed a pink ward there, and... Yeah, you probably could have, like, AoE'd the entire enemy team as they were coming in with an E and an ult, and then walked away. Like, you probably would have been fine. And you would have done so much damage to the enemy team that they couldn't stay around Baron. This is why mid laners tend to zone around objectives. It's because they're good at it. So, that's an interesting ult. Oh, and you get Vhagar comboed. They just end the game without you? Maybe. Oh, no, your team is trying to throw. So at this point, you know what's more useful than a Doran's ring? 2 pink wards. Yep. I would have those, and I would probably put one like right there or right there. Probably right here, because if they go for Baron after they kill all of your team for being dumb, they're definitely going to check this pixel brush here, but they may not check this one. And that'll give, okay, you don't have any TPs, but it'll give you some vision, so you know if you can walk up to here and try and, like, poke them off or something like that. But, yeah, you need to be, like, realizing that, okay, my team is dying topside. I can't take anything bot side. There's no dragon up for me to do. So I should probably just go and pink ward this to get some vision around it. Maybe I can poke them off of it, because their main tank is dead. It's mostly them. If I dodge things and I'm not a potato, I might have a chance of poking him off it if they try and do it. But they end up living, because Soraka's a fun champion. You're pushing mid. This is greedy for you to do. Try to line your E's up so you hit everything. Like in a lot of these fights, I've seen you E where you only hit one person when you could hit 2. Like, that's what makes Viktor really strong, is that you're also using all of your mana. But one of the things that makes Viktor really strong is that his spells don't have to just hit one person. Like, a lot of the traditional ways of dodging spells don't work versus Viktor, because he can E in a direction that makes sure he'll hit 2 people, even if they're like this, right? And no other champion can do that with a spell that's on that low of a cooldown. But Viktor can. So you'll get a lot more, like, if you understand how to use your E's in team fights, you'll get a lot more DPS out of them. Okay, so you should just get this and end the game. Yeah, you used way too much mana. Now you have no mana again. So Earth Dragon is up. Yeah, you guys should just take the inhibs in the game. Honestly, even a QSS would be more useful than Lich Bane. Oh, you're gonna get that inhib. Feels good. Honestly, I would just group up with your team. Like, you don't need the waves. Like, you already have one wave down mid. Your team's here. You can just walk in and take these inhibs together. So pushing top is kind of unnecessary because it'll eventually auto push once you take the inhib. Oh, good night. Yeah, you should be here right now. Oh, Viktor damage, boys. This is why Viktor's busted. Do nothing all game, and then do 1,000,000 damage. Yeah, here goes the game. So a lot of laning mistakes. Ward control has been a consistent problem for you in mid. Target selection has been pretty consistent. Knowing when to use your spells, like whether or not you should use a spell and how you control your mana, that's been a consistent problem. And when you're playing mages like Viktor and Anivia, you really need to control your mana and ward up, because that's how they're punished. Poorly using your mana in lane and just wasting all the mana on spells and shit like that, and then like not warding, is a recipe for dying to ganks over and over again. And that is going to prevent you from climbing. Like you'll climb to a certain point, and then you'll eventually find junglers who punish you, right? And you've been lucky in both of these games. Like, I don't know how a Shaco decides not to gank. I don't know how and Graves, like, it's hard for him to gank, but you've just been like not punished as hard as you should have been at all. Like, it could have been so much worse. And this Veigar was already pretty fed. If he had built a Magi's and been like full grade, like Magi's and Zanyas instead of Rabadons, like, life would be fucking hard. And that the two people that are fed on the enemy team are fed as a result of what you've done. Just for the record, like the mid laner and the jungler both got pretty fed because of the mistakes that you made. So it's worth noting, and that'll just grow worse. That's about it. May not make as much sense since the cut, but hopefully it makes sense.